Have you ever wondered if skipping breakfast is not only going to save you time, but it's also going to speed up fat loss? Well, today we're going to look into the science and see if this is actually true, or whether skipping breakfast is one of the dumbest things you can do to lose weight. And not only will we look at published data, but I've tested this out on myself, and I've tested this out on hundreds of high-achieving, super busy clients, and the results are pretty crazy. Now, I want to get this out the way first. This video is for people in their 30s, 40s, and 50s, the ones dealing with real-world stressors, like being glued to a screen all day, raising kids, and managing a busy household. If you're in your 20s and your biggest worry is what clothes am I going to wear this weekend, enjoy it. You can have 4 takeaways a week and still lose weight. This is for people who by 9 a.m. have already had to log into their laptop early, been thrown a curveball by the kids, and still need to find 10 minutes to chase up the solicitor for an update on that house sale. Okay, a few years ago, I was bought into the whole intermittent fasting, you don't need to eat breakfast thing, so I cut it out and just started with lunch. I kept pretty much everything else the same. Workout, steps, sleeping, what I was eating, etc. And what happens? Well, firstly, I didn't lose any weight, but at the same time, I didn't actually gain any weight either, at least according to the scale. But what was obvious, I started looking very puffy and my waist was increasing. But not only that, my energy was massively dipping around 2 p.m. and my cravings in the evening were through the roof. Eventually, I stopped and just went back to having breakfast, and within a few days, my energy was back to normal. So I decided I'm never going to skip breakfast again and just started having lunch every day. But I'm just one person. And then I saw the same pattern merging over the last few years as a fitness coach. I didn't realize it was such a popular concept till I started talking to people. Even the people who aren't massively into their fitness and just wanted to lose a bit of weight, this seemed to be one of the most popular methods. So a few months ago, I put a poll on my Instagram for volunteers for a YouTube case study. I had 6 volunteers, but I didn't tell them what the study was for. Out of the 6 volunteers, 4 of them already didn't have breakfast and 2 of them did, but only sometimes. So with the 4 that did, I gave them a full plan, but started them off by sticking to not having breakfast. And then with the 2 that sometimes did, sometimes didn't, again, gave them a full plan, but with them, we agreed 3 breakfast options they could have. Obviously, it had to be something they enjoyed, and they could whip up quickly, but they had to have it and log it so I could see every single day, including weekends. Now, before I share the results, I just want to iterate, this is not a study. I am not a research center. I've also technically not controlled all the variables, and this is just 6 people, not enough to make any accurate conclusions. This was just a case study. We'll look at the actual studies in a bit. But the results were the 2 who were eating breakfast every single day lost weight in line with what we had projected in our initial consultation. From the other 4, 1 lost no weight, but transparently she was missing most of the workouts we'd scheduled in. The other 3 all lost weight, but only 1 lost weight in line with what we had projected. The other 2 were losing weight, but it was a lot slower. So after 4 weeks, I got all 4 of them having breakfast every single day and logging it so I could see, and all 4 of them started seeing better progress. Even the one skipping workouts said she now had more energy and thus got more workouts done. And then the one that was already making progress in line with what we had on our roadmap, he said even including breakfast, he was feeling better, having more energy, and feeling a lot less peckish in the evenings. Again, this is just a study with 6 people, so do not take anything from this. But it was interesting for me to see and reinforce the breakfast protocols I have in my working from home fitness system. Okay, so what is actually happening here? Your body has an internal clock, and as you age, it starts to get weaker. Probably heard of it. It's called your circadian rhythm. When you skip breakfast, you massively confuse your circadian rhythm. Anyone who skipped breakfast long enough knows at a certain point, you just don't really get hungry in the morning anymore. And when I was doing this and this was happening to me, I thought, great, perfect. I thought this was a good sign. It's actually a massive red flag. Not being hungry in the morning was a reflection of how late in the evening I was eating. Also, counterintuitively, waiting until you're hungry to start eating is the wrong strategy. Our bodies anticipate food at certain times through cues, especially from regular eating patterns. So when you wait until you're hungry, you'll end up eating later and more inconsistently, which again throws your circadian rhythm completely out of sync. So here's what actually happens when you skip breakfast. Thing is, you decentralize that clock. Breakfast aligns your metabolism with daylight. It sends signals to your body when it's time to boost mood, alertness, energy, and so on. Second, it elevates your stress hormone cortisol. When you wake up in the morning, your body naturally releases cortisol. What most people don't realize is skipping breakfast adds even more stress to the system and therefore more cortisol, and that extra cortisol can lead to an increase in visceral fat, weakening your immune system, and of course just making you feel more stressed. Next, you suppress your key metabolic genes that regulate how your body processes glucose and converts food into energy. So when you skip breakfast, those pathways don't fully activate, which can reduce how effectively your body uses fuel throughout the day, which is likely why I was so tired in the afternoon. And lastly, you impact your sleep and your mood. When you skip breakfast, it can lead to throwing off your sleep and your wake patterns. And as you hear me say in every single video, your sleep is so important. But none of this matters without any proof. So here it is. Now, there were plenty of studies I dug into when making this video, but the ones that really stood out for me were these two. A 2020 meta-analysis found that adults who skip breakfast have a 44% higher risk of obesity compared to those who eat breakfast. And another 2024 analysis found that skipping breakfast is linked to higher risk in all-cause mortality. So the research backs exactly what the science shows. Skipping breakfast does more harm for you than good as you get older. So how should you approach this? Pretty simple. 1, have something to eat within the first 2 to 3 hours of waking. 2, stop eating 2 to 3 hours before bed. That's it. Now, with the second one, if you do struggle to stick to this, here's something that helps me. Set a cut-off time for when you're going to stop eating. Then when that time hits, go and brush your teeth. Chances are you're not going to want to do it again, so I'll make you think twice before hitting up that cheesecake. Now, if you've been skipping breakfast for a while, probably wouldn't recommend waking up tomorrow and diving in with a full fry-up or a full plate of pancakes. Here's what I do instead. For most of my clients, I recommend starting off with something light because it will take time for your gut and your blood sugar to adjust. Something super simple like a protein shake or yogurt with some fruit, gonna be absolutely perfect. After about 14 days, once your body starts getting used to having breakfast again, then it's time for you to move on to full, single ingredient, nutrient dense, high protein breakfast choices. In my opinion, eggs are the best thing you can have for breakfast. I could probably do a whole video on the reasons why, but they give you protein, healthy fats, and a ton of vitamins. Have your eggs however you like them. Add some turkey bacon or avocado or sour bread or bit of veg on the side. Gonna be absolutely perfect. And before you tell me you don't have time, scrambling an egg and cutting an avocado will take you about 3 to 4 minutes. When I used to work in an office, I used to make this quicker than it would take someone to make a cappuccino on the coffee machine. Now, to close this off, your metabolism isn't broken after 30, you just have to be more precise with it. This means stop fighting your biology and start working with it. Focus on eating breakfast, getting high quality protein, and syncing your meals with your body's natural rhythm. If you stick to this for 1 month, you will notice a dramatic difference. But remember, breakfast is just one cog in the machine. So if you want to lose weight and you're not sure where to start, watch this video next.